I come from immigrant parents. I said I'm half Latino, but the other half, I'm half Latino, I'm half Armenian. That is a New York City only combination, by the way. They don't have those. You can't find those in Nebraska, all right? They don't make them out there. I've been out there to do comedy. They don't have a lot of minorities out in Nebraska. The entire time I was there, I ran into one other Latino guy, and then it just turned out he was a white guy with a tan. I'm like, why didn't you say anything? He's like, hey man, I'm here on a soccer scholarship. Don't blow my cover. My parents, as immigrants, they did not have a lot of money when they came to this country, right? So we couldn't afford stuff, but my parents were too proud to admit that. So instead, they would just come up with weird excuses why we couldn't afford stuff. Like anytime I asked for anything, my mom would be like, that's only for white people. Like, only white people do that. That's her excuse. Only white people do that. I'm like, really, Mom? Only white people get to ride bicycles? Seems like a weird law. That's only for white people. Only white people can wear Nikes? They're called Air Jordans, Mom. Like, I was like 15 before I realized that the Toys R Us at the mall wasn't segregated and that anyone could go in. It was my fault. I should have figured that out sooner. It was odd to open a whites-only toy store in 1993. It's a weird marketing strategy. They didn't have a lot of money, so the first thing they do when they'd come home from work, they would immediately walk over to the thermostat that controlled the heating in the house and then start accusing us of changing the settings on the thermostat. They'd be like, who was playing with this? Which one of you kids was playing with this? Every time you play with this, we have to pay a bill. Who was playing with it? They always said playing with it, like there was some type of fun to be had with a thermostat. Like, oh, Mom and Dad are gone? Good, shut off the Nintendo, let's go play with the thermostat. Grab all the kids in the neighborhood, see if they want in on this, because it would be real selfish for me to keep all this fun to myself. I gotta spread this action around. Let them know if they can't make it out today, tomorrow we're gonna be changing stereo presets. Spread the word. They tried to Americanize. My parents tried to Americanize, but they were just terrible at it, right? Like, for lunch, every day my mother would make us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but on pita bread. Yeah, and you know what rotten little monsters kids are? All they need is a bread they've never seen before. Now you're the school weirdo. So now I'm getting into fist fights over my exotic bread choices. Then I get in trouble. I get sent home from school, and then my dad's like, hey, what's the matter with you? I'm like, hey, what's the matter with you? Why can't we get Wonder Bread, huh? Like, oh no, Wonder Bread, no Wonder Bread. Pita bread is the best bread, okay? There's no better bread than pita bread. I'm like, hey man, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't know if I want to be the ambassador of pita bread for the entire school. That is a lot of pressure for an 8-year-old. So we could just get Wonder Bread. Maybe 20 years from now, I'm not going to be on a stage telling jokes to strangers for validation. Spoiler alert, we did not get that Wonder Bread. Try, man, I try. I try to be patient with them. It's hard because they're stubborn. Like, my dad doesn't know anything about technology, right? Like, if you don't know something, what do? You look it up on the internet, right? You know what my dad does if he doesn't know something? He calls me on the phone, and then I have to look it up on the internet. So as far as my dad is concerned, I am the internet. Which sucks, because now every conversation me and my dad have has become a game show where I have to figure out what he's talking about in the fewest amount of clues humanly possible. One time he called me up, he goes, hey Harry, I saw a commercial on the TV for the movie. You know, the movie? The movie, Dad? The movie. That's what you're giving me to work with. Hey, you know, this isn't Russia in the 80s, right? We get more than one movie a year. You gotta be a little more specific. Who was in the movie? The guy with the face. The guy with the face is clue number 2. The guy with the face, yeah, the guy with the face, the guy, he's making faces all the time. He doesn't have any new information. He just keeps repeating the same information, just faster and angrier, because now he thinks I'm the idiot. The guy is making a face all the time. Come on, man. The guy, sometimes he makes a face like a doctor, sometimes he makes a face like a rat man. Rat man? Do you mean Batman? Like, oh, rat man, Batman, what's the difference? I'm like, the difference is one is a real movie, the other one you just made up to screw with me. That's the difference. I'm like, fine, which Batman was it? Was it Michael Keaton, George Clooney? Yeah, that's the one, Jerry Rooney. I just told you it was George Clooney. How did you possibly mix that up? I mean, fine, whatever. It doesn't matter what his name is, man. You saw the commercial on the TV for the movie. I want to know what time it's going to be on TV so I can watch it. I go, Dad, it's a commercial for the movie in the movie theater. If you want to see it, you got to go to the movie theater and pay $15 like everybody else. He goes, 15, that's a lot of money. I pay 5. Now he's haggling with me. I'm like, hey, Dad, I don't make the price at the movie theater. If you don't want to pay that, just wait till it comes out on Netflix. He goes, what's Netflix? I'm like, damn it. Now I gotta explain Netflix to him. That involves credit cards, email addresses. I'm gonna be here for days. I gotta get out of this immediately, so I just panicked. I'm like, Dad, you cannot use Netflix. Only white people do that. You can't use that. Don't do that.